It's Tuesday again, and I would like to hang with you lads, but I'm off to listen to the new episode of the Slaven Selection Show. Play now or stay in dark forever.
When we watch Canadarm in action or hear Chris Hadfield perform Space Oddity in orbit, we all feel a great sense of pride. Do we have a lot of space power? Perhaps not, but we'll arrive there at some point. The sheer volume of talented, hard-working individuals that Canada imports each month is astounding. If only we can create enough housing for all those medical professionals and engineers, in addition to all upcoming employees in the Canadian space industry. Canada welcomed almost 40,000 new permanent residents in August 2023. I guess this number is only going to get bigger, and this provides an overview of the amount of immigrants that month, declares that beginning in 2025 and 2026, Canada intends to accept 500,000 new permanent immigrants per year. That sets a target for about more than 40,000 new immigrants every month until that annual number is attained if we divide that by a 12-month period. So, how many of those people are future rocket surgeons or brain scientists? Well, regardless of the exact figure, there are still insufficient reasonably priced homes to accommodate them all. If we are finding it difficult to feed the people who will propel our nation forward, how can we expect to rule space? I mean, being proud is fine, but, anyway. With the unfortunate exceptions of abandoning the Avro-Aero project because I guess it was too good even for the U.S. military-industrial complex, and ignoring the storied Richmond Hill Observatory due to some reckless real estate developers, Canada is no joke when it comes to space orientation and technologies. In fact, Canada accomplished a lot. So, a brief history of space program and industry in the Great White North. Canada has a long and proud history in space exploration and the development of space technology. The origins of Canada's space program can be tracked back to the late 1950s with the launch of the Alouette 1 satellite in 1962, making Canada the third country after the Soviet Union and United States to build and operate its own satellite. And this was followed by the influential 1967 Chapman Report, which recommended the creation of a national space agency. Distinguished Canadian scientist and author of 1967's paper Upper Atmosphere and Space Programs in Canada, which was a seminal document that outlined a new course for Canada's space program. He also led the team responsible for designing and constructing Canada's first satellite, Alouette, in 1962, as I have said. Major early milestones included the launch of the Anik A1 communication satellite in 1972 and the formation of Telesat, originally a Crown corporation, in 1969. Canada's expertise in satellite communications and remote sensing grew from these early programs. And one of Canada's most significant contributions has been the Canadian Canadarm robotic manipulator systems. The Canadarm robotic manipulator systems were developed and manufactured by McDonnell Detwiller and Associates, or MDA, a Canadian aerospace company based in Brampton, Ontario. Additionally, my first location in Canada was in the Castlemore neighborhood of Brampton, and MDA is located in the Churchville neighborhood on the other side, both similarly distant from Pearson Airport. The original Canadarm flew on the space shuttle from 1981 to 2011, performing tasks like deploying and capturing satellites. Its more advanced successor, Canadarm2, was launched in 2001 and is a crucial part of the International Space Station's mobile servicing system, along with the Dextre robot. The Canadian Space Agency, or CCA, was officially established in 1989, consolidating the country's space activities under one organization. Since then, Canadian astronauts like Roberta Bondar, Chris Hadfield, and others have participated in numerous space missions. And in recent years, Canada has contributed advanced robotics like Canadarm2 and Extra to the ISS program. The country is now, believe it or not, developing Canadarm3. I can't wait to see that. An autonomous artificial intelligence-based robotic system for the lunar getaway as a part of the Artemis program to return humans to the moon. Canada's space industry, anchored by companies like MDA, has grown to provide over 8,000 highly skilled jobs and contribute over $3 billion annually to the economy. The sector's capabilities span satellite communications, Earth observation, robotics, optics, and radar technology, among others. So I guess 8,000 highly skilled jobs, 4,000 people coming to Canada every month. Are you building enough condos for this? I don't think so. So do something about it. As part of the Artemis program, Canada has promised to supply a robotic arm for the lunar getaway, a planned base orbiting the moon. By 2026, the Canadian Lunar Rover Mission, or LRM, seeks to deploy a rover to the southernmost point of the moon in order to investigate and examine lunar soil in search of possible resources such as water ice. CCA provides funding to Canadian businesses and organizations to develop cutting-edge space technologies and applications through initiatives like the Space Technology Development Program, or STDP, artificial intelligence, robotics, space health, quantum technology, and sustainable lunar and Mars exploration systems are among the areas of attention. For instance, Ride was a Canadian startup company which was something like first Uber-like service for space, and they aim to develop the small launch vehicle system for delivering small satellites to low Earth orbit at a low cost. And here are the key details about Space Ride. They were founded in 2018 by Sohrab Hajigat and Saharna Safari, based in Ontario, Canada. Their rocket system consisted of a 3-stage Rider rocket that would be carried to high altitude by a stratospheric balloon before igniting its engines to reach orbit. They plan to offer launches for payloads up to 150 kilos to low Earth orbit, with prices starting at $250,000 for payloads under 25 kilos. In June 2022, Space Ride opened a 25,000 square feet rocket factory in Concord, Ontario, as Canada's first orbital-class rocket manufacturing facility. However, the company faced opposition from residents in Trent Hills, Ontario, over noise from rocket engine testing at rural facility. The municipality asked Space Ride to stop the tests in October 2022 after complaints. Unable to continue engine testing and lacking funds to proceed further, Space Ride filed for bankruptcy in February of 2023 and appointed Alouette as a trustee to handle its affairs. The noise complaints from the local community in Trent Hills proved to be a major setback for Space Ride, ultimately contributing to the company's shutdown before it could launch any orbital rockets. The space sector in Canada is thriving and expanding, with several businesses making contributions to a range of fields, including satellite communications, Earth observation, space robots, launch services, and more. These are a few of the leading space companies in Canada. There's broadband communication services, and these are offered globally by Telesat, a prominent global satellite operator. And it is building the state-of-the-art low Earth orbit constellation known as Lightspeed, in addition to managing a fleet of geostationary satellites. And then there is, of course, North Star Earth, MDA, as I have said, and the RadarSat satellites. And in order to track greenhouse gas emissions from industrial facilities, GHGSat creates and manages satellites. The famed Canadarm robotic manipulators, which are utilized on the International Space Station and Space Shuttle, were created by MDA, as I have said. And what else is there? Oh yeah, there is Canadian Sys Aerospace, right? And yeah, but let's talk about now about there's the last time I heard about a new company, like it was about North Space, which is a Canadian space engineering company focused on developing various space technologies and systems, and it is privately owned space engineering company. It was founded and is owned by Raoul Gale, who also serves as the CEO of the company. The goal of this extremely ambitious and quickly developing Canadian space business, North Space, is to provide Canada with independent launch capability. North Space is developing an eco-friendly reusable launch vehicle called Tundra, which is capable of delivering up to 500 kilos to low Earth orbit. Hey guys, I really hope you're not launching the Toyota flagship pickup truck in the orbit. Tundra will be powered by North Space's proprietary bipropellant multi-fuel liquid rocket engines called Hadfield engines. Well, that's cool. Using carbon-neutral e-fuels, a first for the space industry. I have no idea what that is, but I will check it out. Also, Tundra aims to be the first ever orbital class Canadian launch vehicle built using advanced materials and manufacturing processes to offer low cost and responsive dedicated launch services. In February of 2024, North Space successfully tested a flight-ready liquid rocket engine, preparing for Canada's first commercial space launch. When it comes to satellites and robotics, North Space is developing a custom satellite bus called NS/104 to power its launch vehicles, satellites, and robotics systems. The company also plans to launch its first demonstration satellite on its Boreal launch vehicle Tulio. North Space aims to launch its own constellation of 8 communication and Earth observation satellites in 2027 to connect Canadians and monitor the environment in real time. Well, it was only a couple of weeks ago, probably not even 2 weeks, that Mike Greenlee, Chief Executive Officer of MDA Canada, told committee members Canada has fallen behind the rest of the globe from a military space capability perspective and is not effectively working with companies in the aerospace sector. Greenlee also said that the United States and the United Kingdom have taken an approach of building only the space hardware they absolutely need while buying the rest from the private sector. Canada needs to start doing the same to avoid long delays in deploying critical military capabilities, he said. And hopefully everything will be ready by 2038. Roughly, I guess. And Greenlee also said, meanwhile, Telesat will launch a global communication capability with satellites built by MDA Space in 2027. If we had a conversation today, it could potentially be configured to deliver military communications in the Arctic a decade faster as a commercial service. A decade faster. The Commons Defense Committee is conducting a study of how the changing geopolitical and military dynamics on Earth are being reflected in outer space. The Liberal government promised dedicated military surveillance satellites in its 2017 defense policy and repeated the pledge in its latest strategy document, but the Defense Department's project status summary shows that multi-billion-dollar program is not set for launch until beyond 2035. So yes, as I have said, smaller companies are coming, upstarters. So yes, why not choosing North Space? These guys are not only launching, they're also developing autonomous rover systems to aid in human exploration on the moon, perform in situ resource utilization, or so-called ISRU, and support the Artemis program. These rovers could also serve terrestrial markets for commercial delivery and industrial safety applications. Well, North Space is basically an engineering and consultancy company based in Canada where innovation, research, development, and science are prioritized. And their mission is to advance life on Earth from space through their various space technologies and systems. The company provides services like external validation of positioning performance, system engineering, project management, business development, technical writing, and quality assurance for space projects. North Space is focused on developing orbital-class launch vehicles, satellite design, assembly, launch services, and advanced robotics. It's a prominent space company, Canadian space company, working on multiple fronts, including developing eco-friendly launch vehicles, satellites, and so on. So make sure you don't confuse them with Danish North Space mental health apps. So it's not the same thing. Well, at the end, I have to say, the Great White North will extend itself into the space with the help of North Space and hopefully many more startups which are about to come in the near future. Canadian potential is no doubt there, but aren't we rely too much to our southern neighbors? I mean, through the Canada European Space Cooperation Agreement, Canada and the European Space Agency have a long history of collaboration, and with Canada being the sole non-European collaborating state under this special agreement, Canadian organizations are able to submit bids for ESA contracts pertaining to initiatives and activities in which they're involved. Maybe perhaps it's time to split the agency apart and extend the collaboration to JAXA, Japanese agency as well, and other agencies. And the private sector, in contrast to government-sponsored organizations, is free to hire the most qualified candidate for the job unless, as in the cases of China and Russia, safety concerns are the primary concern. Remember, just a month ago, a former Canadian Space Agency engineer from Montreal, Wamping Zhang, was acquitted on a breach of trust charge over his dealings with Chinese aerospace company while in the federal agency employ. He was accused of using his position to act on behalf of Chinese aerospace company SpaceT. The University of British Columbia, Michael Byers, an international lawyer and holder of the Canada's Research Chair in Global Politics and International Law, and Aaron Bowley, an astrophysicist and associate professor of physics and astronomy, have been awarded the 2023 Donner Prize, a Canadian public policy writing honor, for their book, Who Owns Outer Space? The best Canadian public policy book is recognized with a yearly $60,000 award, which also gives the remaining contenders $7,000. Who Owns Outer Space examines possible obstacles and fixes for space exploration and travel. It evaluates significant legal, policy, and scientific discussions pertaining to human futures in and around space by utilizing highly comprehensible language and collaborating across several fields. Well, the book seems to have been released at the perfect time. Do you recall the famous Cold War joke where the Soviet Union painted the moon red and the Americans, clueless about what to do, finally scribbled Coca-Cola on it? Well, today the situation is different. Russia is running on fumes and soon it will implode under sanctions. But China is threatening and India has a great potential to become space superpower not so far in the future. So, this way or another, regardless of who you're cheering for, I only have one thing to say at the end, and you know what it is. Stay selective, my friends. See you next time. Bye-bye.